We're here to solve this Terra X puzzle by JinHoo Ahn called 0 to 7. It's a good intro to this style. I'm not going to say it's an easy puzzle, but it's a good intro to the style because it'll teach you some of the main steps to work through it. With all the values from 0 to 7 in the grid, it's actually these 4 and 5 in the lower left corner that are the easiest place to start because around them is a sum of two more numbers that add up to 1 so that this whole group sums to 10. So 0 and 1 have to split across those. A real key thing in these puzzles, I'm going to turn on the surface mode to help show this, is to actually think about pairs of these numbers. This group in green adds up to 4 or 5, which means that this group up above in blue around this dot has to be 10 minus that, or 5 or 6. And you could actually color these in blue. This set in blue will equal the sum of this set in blue. And still coming up these gray dots, that means this set in green has to have the same sum as this set in green. In this case, this cell will have to be a 4 or 5. And that kind of logic will keep us going if we actually cared, like this is also an equivalent set of blue that adds up to the same as this, and as this. And so that is looking for these kinds of sets is one way to think about communication across a grid that will help. And the real first place to start is looking horizontally, where we've got these sets that are going to be the same kinds of groups. And these two in green are the most key. This group here adds up to 5 or 6. This adds up to 6 or something larger. The smallest value can go here is 0. This being 0 and 1 is forced then, so that you get an equivalent sum across these two. That puts a 0 down in this set. It puts a 5 up in this cell that we said had to pair with the values down here, and gets us really started. 0 with 7 around this set now leaves behind either 0 and 3, but that would touch to a 0, or 1 plus 2. So we put in the 1 plus 2 option. If 1 is down here, it leaves behind a remaining sum of 3, and if 2 is here, it puts in another 2. The 2 quickly cancels. This is a 3, this is a 1, this is a 2, and we've got a good start. I'm just going to keep working on the right side of the grid now. I've got a sum of 8, which is going to be 1 with 1. It's going to be left behind with 0 and 2. And we don't know which is which yet because there's no steering from other numbers. But this is another case where I have this pair of digits which will equal this pair of digits. And so what I want to look at next is actually this cell, which has to complete a sum of 7 or 9. So this is a 4 or 6. And you'll see from this block that a 6 is incompatible with an existing sum already, a 5. So this is 4 with 1 to complete this out. This has to be 0. And we're now left where we have a sum of 3 across this group. 0 and 3 aren't eligible for this cell, so this looks like 1 or 2. But you'll see the 2 isn't compatible with this large cage because of the 2 down below. So this has to be a 1 here. This is a 2. That means this is a 2. Just finishing out some of these sums, we've got 7 leaves behind 3. 5 leaves behind 5. We now have probably another kind of sum to break through, so let's maybe start in this big cell. This big cell is not a 0, 1, or 2. Could be a 3, could be a 4. It's completing a sum here of 6, so this now is a 0 or 1. It's completing a sum over here of 5, so this can be a 1 or a 2. 3, 4 with 2 and 1 is going to have 4, 3 in the cell, so this will be a 4, 3 pair. Don't know which yet. 3, 4 here is going to put a 1 or 2 here. 2 around a sum of 6 would put another 2, which is a problem, or a 3. So this is 3, this is 1, this is 4 to finish out that sum, this is 3 to finish out that sum. This has to be a 1 down here, a 2 over here, and our last value to finish that square is a 4. And we're through this first Terra X. And for sure there are going to be harder puzzles during the course of this week, but in different ways, finding these color groups that are paired, as we did at the start, seeing cages like these cells or these cells that have force constraints around them because of other values that are nearby. This is the kind of thinking that gets you through the communication in these grids and makes Terra X a pretty fun number placement style. So thanks for watching this video. We'll see you again soon.